Now, it's been almost a year since the release of the iPhone 15 series, and after using each phone to its full capabilities, I think it's safe to say that the iPhone 15 Pro is the best in terms of value. Now, value is one of my favorite words because when it comes to making a smart purchase decision, whether it's clothing, a car, or even technology, value basically means that you got the most out of your money. And I think that any person who is spending a lot of money on any of these things will look into what's most valuable to them. And when making that final decision, we want to feel good about what we purchased. We don't want to feel cheated. We don't want to feel like we could have made a better buy. And we don't want to feel like we've left anything on the table, especially when you're spending over $1,000 on a smartphone. And the beautiful thing about value is that it's not just the price, but also the quality of what you're getting. And as a consumer, you want a phone that's reliable, durable, and will give you a great experience. And I feel like when you compare the iPhone 15 Pro to any other phone in the iPhone 15 series, it easily beats out any of them in very important ways. The iPhone 15 is a good phone, but the iPhone 15 Pro has a more powerful chip, a better camera system, and provides a smoother experience. The iPhone 15 Plus is a good phone also, but I think that it has the same lackluster specs just like the iPhone 15, and it's not much cheaper than the iPhone 15 Pro, despite the 15 Pro being the better phone. And the iPhone 15 Pro Max has the opposite problem. It is slightly better than the 15 Pro, but I think that not many people are willing to spend that extra $200. So instead of getting a cheaper, more lackluster phone, or a phone that's much more expensive for no reason, I believe that the 15 Pro is of the best value because you're getting the best of both worlds in terms of power, performance, longevity, smoothness, and pricing. And here it is, you guys. My experience with the iPhone 15 Pro Max after using it on a daily basis for almost a year now. Now, here are some key synonyms to the word value: practicality, worth, and most importantly, advantage. And when I think of not only the word value, but also the three words associated with it, the first thing that comes to my mind is the iPhone 15 Pro's display. Now, if you don't own an iPhone 15 Pro and are watching this video to decide if you want to buy it, if you do decide to buy it, the first thing that you'll notice is how fast it feels whenever you're scrolling. And that's thanks to the 120 Hz refresh rate that is honestly still extremely smooth and fluid after almost a year. The only downside to high refresh rates is that you will notice it, but you will also get used to it really quickly to the point where you forget that it's even an upgrade, and it starts to feel extremely normal after that. Besides the refresh rate though, another thing that I really like when comparing the 15 Pro to the 15 Pro Max is the size. Personally, I like the fact that I could reach to the top of the screen much easier, and I really appreciated the fact that it was very usable yet big at the same time, so it never really felt small when watching videos or using it for everyday tasks. Brightness is not the best in the smartphone market, but it does get the job done. It reaches up to 2000 nits peak when outside, and when it's inside, it can reach up to 600 nits peak. So no matter where you're at, the 15 Pro should give you a clear view. And speaking of clear view, as you guys know, my favorite thing to do on my phone is watch YouTube and scroll mindlessly on social media. And time again, I can't say enough how good the 15 Pro's resolution, sharpness, and vibrancy within the display is. Comparing it side by side with another top tier phone, you can see that it will give you a really great experience. It's not the best in the smartphone market, but it can compete with the top dogs whenever it's tested. Also, I feel like I've been saying this for years now, but Face ID, as usual, is still performing the best whenever I'm inside, outside, in the dark, or tilting my head at an angle. The iPhone 15 Pro was able to unlock with great accuracy and speed. Now, the final thing that I wanted to address when it comes to the iPhone 15 Pro's display is Dynamic Island. And I'm not gonna lie, it's one of the most forgettable features that it has to offer. I will admit that it is nice whenever you're waiting for your food from DoorDash or whenever you're waiting for an Uber. But other than that, I do think that if you own an iPhone 15 Pro, there will be times where you completely forget about it. Then you'll use an app that you haven't used in months. It'll do something cool and you'll realize that it exists again, only to forget it after that moment. Now, while talking about the iPhone 15 Pro, a couple of minutes in, it kind of seems like I'm riding. Now, the iPhone 15 Pro by no means is a perfect phone. After months of frequent use, there have been some things that have bothered me, and I want to let you guys know before you listen to any more of me praising it. Now, the first con is that just like any iPhone in the 15 series, it does have frequent bugs. And although these bugs aren't as frequent as the iPhone 14 Pro, they are still there, and there will be times where about once or twice a month, your 15 Pro will have an app crash on you. The next con is the camera. Whenever I got close to a subject, it switches to the telephoto lens and will take a dip in quality. And I remember on my iPhone 12 Pro, when I could get close to a subject and it would just focus on that subject without taking a hit in quality. And those were some really good times. And the last con is a multitude of lackluster stuff when compared to a counterpart in the same price range. The fact that the Galaxy S24 Plus offers much faster charging while being the same price. The fact that the action button doesn't have a double or triple tap feature that'll let you do more. And the fact that there is still no under display Touch ID despite most phones having it. So now that we've taken a look at the cons, the next thing I want to look at is basically a make or break factor for most people, and that's the battery. Now, when it comes to battery life, the iPhone 15 Pro is very identical to the 15 Pro Max. I'm getting all day battery life with medium to heavy usage, and the apps that I'm using include Instagram, X, YouTube, FaceTime, and iMessage. And as you can see, these very few apps take up to 5 to 6 hours of screen time a day. This past week has been more on the medium side of things, but I've also had weeks where I'm clocking in 7 to 8 hours. But as of lately, at 6 hours, I usually end my days around 25 to 30%, which is pretty chill. And on days where I go to 7 to 8, I'll be on my last 5 to 10%. So either way, I'm getting a pretty good long-lasting battery. Charging is pretty average. It takes over 2 hours to charge from 0 to 100. I never tried to use any advantage to save battery, and I pretty much always use my phone as much as I can throughout the day. Now, when it comes to iPhones, it's pretty much a criminal offense to not talk about the camera. And just like the first time I used it, the iPhone 15 Pro still was able to take some high quality selfies, everyday pictures, night mode photos, and the best videos in the smartphone market. Comparing selfies to my Pixel 8 Pro, I feel like the 15 Pro gave a little bit more realism, while the coloring on the 8 Pro was up to par. I love how natural everything looks when capturing on my 15 Pro, and I also like how well it translates into third-party apps like Instagram. Everyday pictures were no different. Again, the realism is out of this world, especially in environments like nature, inside the house, or any other infrastructure, and even nice buildings around town. Night mode was superb as well. Comparing it to the Pixel 8 Pro, the iPhone had better artificial lighting, the pictures were more clear, and I think that it just took better pictures overall. I also thought the same thing when it came to videos. Right here is me shooting a video on the Pixel 8 Pro. It looks really good, but I also think that the 15 Pro had a more natural feel to it. Even when outside, it handles natural lighting much better, the sharpness is much more authentic, and I stand by my opinion that the iPhone takes the best video, not to also mention that the photos and videos translate well into Instagram, TikTok, etc. And that's my review on the iPhone 15 Pro after almost a year since its release. It's a really good phone that I think will fit most people who want the best of both worlds. Those who want a top tier quality experience while being able to drop a solid flagship price. So whenever you're making a purchase decision, remember to always choose value, because at the end of the day, you never want something that you're going to regret. Peace.
Is that Chris?